Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Elements of the Unknown. I am one half of the hosts, Jason McGray, and I'm here with my co-host,
Justin Hugh.
And tonight we have decided, well, we're going to start with talking about ghosts. Who knows where it'll take us? I don't know. But, yeah, ghosts.
Ghosts.
That's, I asked Justin here, I said, what do you want to talk about? He's like, let's talk about ghosts. I'm like, okay. And it might have been because in the first episode, we were talking about ghosts. Sorry if you hear the dog snorting every once in a while.
Tired puppy.
Yeah, he's tired. He sees ghosts too. That's not a lie.
No, but that's the thing is apparently animals have a higher sense to that, right?
Yeah, that is said that they could have a higher sense to that. But how do we really know? Because I've heard theories from like other people how it could be different. I'm sure you've heard the same stuff. Like John E.L. Tenney talks about animals. I've even heard him talk about how say like cats see something as a grid.
Exactly.
And when they're staring off in a corner or something, they're not actually like looking at a spirit. They're kind of realigning their sight with their grid and using like a flat line on a wall or a corner.
It's crazy. Imagine seeing in a grid.
But I never knew something like that. No. So all the people that believe, it's the cat's looking at, some entity in the corner of the room in the ceiling. Maybe not. Maybe the cat's just aligning its sight. I have no way of knowing. Yeah. It's an interesting explanation. He obviously comes from a background. Tenney, for those who don't know, John E.L. Tenney, huge occult researcher, unknown researcher. I don't even know how to label him. Well known on TV, published books. He's got his own podcast, all that other stuff.
And a huge skeptic too, which is the best of both worlds.
Massive skeptic. But he really breaks down like explaining stuff in his thinking, and I would lead to believe that his thing about animals is come from a back of research of actual science and what science has out there and says. So, but I mean, when the dog here, when he's looking off into the kitchen and he's growling from the living room at nothing, I don't know what he's growling at. Or
whether it be a sound
or maybe he's hearing something. I do live in a building, so he could be hearing something outside. I don't know.
That's just it. We don't know. We don't.
And
know
I mean, dogs have like a hearing of like 2 miles or something like that?
Yeah, so. I think it's like 2 or 5 miles or something like that. Like they were saying, I'll bring him up again. Tenney, he was saying that I guess, your cat can hear. If you hear your cat or see your cat perk its ears up, more than likely they're opening like a can next door because they have the hearing for like 2 to 5 miles or something like that. It's something insane.
Yeah,
like it's crazy to be able to hear that far. Like,
so that it's weird. Animals are cool. Studying animals is cool, but ghosts, I'm pretty sure he hears or sees something.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure on the science of it or what he's hearing or seeing. We took part one night here in a live seance over online. Jeez. So I was connected to it online and casting it to my TV.
Yeah.
And I sat down here and we watched the seance. Mm-hmm. And as that was going on, stuff started happening here in the house. And we were just watching it. But because of that energy, putting it out in the universe, I don't know what was happening, but all of a sudden, the dog started growling at I don't know what, just for a couple seconds. And then there's a door knocker on the front door of my house. Mm-hmm. And somebody lifted the door knocker and dropped it. Now, could somebody have gone by and done that? Yeah, but nobody has ever done that. And when I got up and I was like, what the hell was that? And I go and look out the door. There's nobody around. So I mean, it's possible. It's explainable. Somebody could have done it, or maybe.
But if it's never happened before,
it's never happened, and I don't know that the door knocker could get stuck up and then all of a sudden just fell. I'm not sure.
No, I used it once, and that thing's pretty
It's
loosely
loose?
on there.
Yeah. So those things were happening during the seance. Was it a ghost? I don't know. It was unexplainable. That's
Yeah.
all I know. It was mysterious or coincidental things happening,
Yeah.
which was really, really weird. But yeah, we did that seance for like we did 4 hours.
That's crazy.
It was so much
That's
fun. Though.
dedication.
It's so much fun.
Dedication to
I'll have to
something
get
that
you
you
come
love.
over the next time we're doing
I
something
love
like that. Yeah, they got the people I follow to do that stuff. They got a bunch of stuff happening all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, ghosts.
So
Whatever happens around here, I see stuff in the house walking past the not now, but like Justin's
Don't
looking
do
around.
that.
He's like,
Don't
"What?
do
What?
that."
You see something now?" Walking past doorways. I have been scratched here. There has been a shadow that's come out of the hallway and leaned over the couch. So
Oh,
yeah, there's definitely been some interesting activity, but
okay.
other than being scratched when I was in the shower on the back of the leg, which was really weird, nothing else kind of harmful or anything has happened.
Well, this is an older area too, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the town has a lot of history.
Yeah.
Like a lot. This town has a history that goes back hundreds of years. So even before the town name, it was called something else. Like I think it was called Big Bear or Big Bear
Okay.
by the natives before it was a developed town.
Wow.
And it was on trading route, so it would come through and trade. But yeah, the town has a ton of history, as does the city beside us too. It has a ton of history as well. Yeah, so that could be why there's something here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know the history of anything that lived here before me, other than the previous tenant.
Yeah.
But I mean, that previous tenant didn't. He moved, so it's not like he died here.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I never met the person, so I
Or
knew he
did
lived
he?
here. Well, no, I know he didn't. I'm almost positive he didn't. His mail still comes here, so no, he doesn't. Wait, oh wait.
You never know. You never know. So I gotta ask you, man. You were showing me an item that you had bought for your SP7, which is a spirit box.
Yep.
You have this briefcase of goodies.
Yes.
Now, for those who are tuning into this episode and are completely intrigued on the idea of paranormal investigations, do you think that what you have is good enough to go out into the field as the basics? And can you explain what you have? And
Okay. A lot of loaded question there.
yeah,
Very good question. Do I think what I have is enough to go out in the field? I think what I have is more than I need to go
Okay.
out in the field. I have come to the point where I believe some of the best evidence can be found just by going out and experiencing it, not relying on tools.
okay,
But I do have tools. I do have a briefcase of goodies, as you call it.
yeah,
I do have a small case, like my field case,
yeah,
that I can just kind of pick up, throw it in the car, and go to wherever I need it. I have basic tools. In that case, I have my SB7 Spirit Box, which is a radio that constantly sweeps through radio frequencies, allowing you to listen to what is believed to be spirit voice coming through in real time in the static between the radio stations. Right. I have that. I also have one Spirit Box / they've been called Ghost Box, Talking Box, whatever. I have an older one as well. It's a Radio Shack one. And anybody who's a veteran of the field, they know about the Shack Hack.
the Shack Hack.
It was a Radio Shack radio. It does the exact same thing as my current SB7 does. The SB7 was manufactured to do what it's doing. The Radio Shack radio, I had to buy the radio, pull it apart, modify the pin board inside the radio, and then put it back together. And
disclaimer: not everybody grab your dad's old radio or something like that and rip it apart and start messing with the electronics.
Yeah, that won't work. So the Radio Shack radio was a very specific model. I don't have it on me right now, so I can't tell you the model. It was a very specific model because it was built a very specific way. It's an analog radio.
Okay.
But it digitally sweeps through. So
Okay.
I can manually, before it was modified, I can manually roll the stations through the digital board. Basically what I did is you're taking one of the computer chip boards, like the chips inside the board, you're pulling it out and you're bending a very specific pin out of the 14 pins that are in the board. You're bending it and breaking it off so it doesn't make contact with the board. And that very specific pin, I can't remember which number it is, that very specific pin tells the radio to stop when it reaches a radio station. So by bending that pin out, it just continuously sweeps.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It does, but YouTube is an amazing thing, and video tutorials on how to do it is an amazing thing. The thing is, good luck finding one of those Radio Shack radios now. I bought that probably 15 years ago.
Wow.
And Radio Shack in the States, not in Canada, and they do not manufacture that radio anymore.
Yeah.
So you'd have to find a used one on eBay or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just much easier to go onto a ghost hunting equipment website of choice that sells an SB7, which will do the same thing. They have an SB11, which will do the same thing, but it does more. So it has like temperature sensors and
we could probably find a link and put it below, eh?
Yeah, I can throw in the show notes. I'll throw a link to one of the sites I use to buy equipment. Cool. It's very reputable. They're constantly bringing out new equipment.
Yeah.
Way more equipment than what I have. I still have like wish list type stuff on there that I want to get, which is just like fun gadgets that may help with investigating.
Yeah.
Inside as well. Sorry, the rest of my kit. I do have a variety of handheld voice recorders.
Okay.
Which are used to capture electronic voice phenomena, also referred to as EVPs, for anybody who hasn't done any kind of investigating before. It's just you turn the recorder on and you just ask open-ended questions and leave a space in between your questions. And sometimes when you play back those recorders, you get answers on the recorder that you didn't hear with your naked ear.
And you're not always going to get that experience.
No.
And I find that's one of the biggest mistakes when people get so skeptic, is when they go out thinking 100% they're going to get an experience because this place is known to be so super haunted and they're going to hear something or see something, and then they get discouraged. For myself, I feel if I go into it with the mindset that something might not happen, and I'm okay with that, that is the best experience that you're going to get.
Yep.
Right.
The expectation to not experience anything is probably right. I once went out with somebody frequently to go investigate places, and even trying new places where we just thought, well, let's just try places and see if they generate some kind of activity.
Yeah.
We would go somewhere and that person would say it's like they were expecting activity.
Okay.
So throughout the night, let's say we're at a location and like one minor thing will happen. And at the end of the night, that person would go, well, that was a bust. Nothing happened. And I said, what did you want to happen? Well, I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything or anything like that. And then it was like, well, yeah, but like that one little thing happened. Like we caught a little noise.
That's something.
right? Or it's something, or like, there's some kind of synchronicity that happened or something. And it's like they had an expectation that they were going to have some huge event every time they went out, like an apparition, or like something was just going to come up and start talking to them or something.
And I think that's the biggest mistake is
And
people
they set
go
that
out.
expectations so high. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was like you're passing on the small experiences, because the small experiences are actually the big ones.
Yeah.
The small ones are the most telling, because why is that small experience happening?
And I think any experienced paranormal investigator would tell you the exact same thing.
I would like to think so, but I know not everybody thinks like me.
No.
There's lots of different teams and people with experience. They all have their different beliefs, different tools, and just different techniques and ways that they would like investigate things.
Yeah.
Even my ways ways that I use to investigate have changed over time.
Of course.
So like the kit,
Trial and error.
my little kit used to have a pendulum in there.
Okay.
I used to try pendulum work. There's a way to get pendulum, use it to get yes or no answers and stuff. I tried that, testing stuff in the field. I've had dowsing rods in there before to try to learn how to use dowsing rods.
Okay.
There's holy water in there. There's all kinds of stuff. There's protection. Tried carrying stones, different kinds of stones and stuff. Which is a very big craze right now. Has been for a little while, like going
Like
to
healing stones and whatnot.
yeah, or different stones for all different kinds of reasons. There's all kinds of mystic type shops now, and even like flea market vendors or shop vendors or whatever that are just selling all kinds of different minerals and rocks and stuff with each one has their own explanation and stuff like that. Stuff I've all tried carrying with me, rosary beads, stuff like that. But as I said, investigation techniques and beliefs have changed over time.
Yeah.
So do I need all those tools in that case? Nope, I don't need them. They're fun to use, and sometimes when I go out, maybe I'll just open the case and pull out the voice recorder.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll bring out the spirit box and nothing else. I also have a K2 meter in there as well, and an old Gauss meter. So it's 2 meters that will measure for electromagnetic fields.
Cool.
Which is believed that when spirit activity happens and close by, they can ramp up the electromagnetic field, and those detectors will detect it. So I have those in there as well. I used to use I would get inventive. You wouldn't buy, back in the day there wasn't like a ghost hunting equipment stores.
Okay.
So you had to get inventive. We used to have it was called a listen-in device.
Sure.
So before we had the spirit boxes, we understood the idea of listening to spirit voice through white noise or hearing it back on a voice recorder.
Static.
Yeah, or hearing it back on a voice recorder.
Mm-hmm.
So they had these little devices, kind of like the idea of Whisper 2000. It was a listen-in device. It was an ear-in device. It had a microphone on it and an earpiece in your ear. And it allowed you to listen live through a microphone to hear what's coming through. The interesting part about it is that the sensitivity was so high that you could be in another room in the building whispering and I would hear you. Like, it was really sensitive.
That's crazy.
But when we use that on certain investigations, sometimes I would hear things that nobody else is hearing. And it would be really low or quiet. And that was interesting enough that it's like, okay, you're hearing something. And if you use that in conjunction with using your voice recorder, you can then at least mark where you heard something verbally. You say, okay, I just heard something. And then when you play back the voice recorder, you'll know this is when I heard it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
used used to get little devices. They're like door chimes, but they had an infrared sensor on it.
Okay.
So you would put this little device on the ground, and if something passed by the infrared,
Yeah,
it would go. It would go
that.
ding dong, and so we would just put that in places where nobody was gonna walk.
Okay.
And if it went off, something triggered the infrared. Was it a ghost? I don't know. For all I know, it could have been a mosquito.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? It could have been anything, but it was tools that we used to try to hopefully point us in the right direction. But now there is a lot of times where I will just go out and I'll just sit there and just wait, see if anything happens.
What is the reasoning behind it? Why do you think people? I know for myself why I want to. For myself, I want to know what's keeping you here. Can I help you? Is there a message? What are you protecting? Because there's a reason why these entities are sticking around with the living. And then on the flip side, there's a completely other thing where there's a theory that it's actually ghosts aren't ghosts. It's actually another dimension crashing in with ours. Right? So there's
Okay, yeah.
you know what I mean?
I'm following you.
So for me, I'm more I do believe in the other dimensions and alternate universes. I definitely believe in all that. But for me, when it comes to investigating sites and different areas, at the beginning, yeah, it was a guilty pleasure. It was like, I want to scare the crap out of myself. I want to see a ghost. I want to hear something. I want to see something move. But now it's more so like, why are they here? Do they have a message? Do they have a reason for being on this particular ground? What are they protecting? What are they hiding? Are they hiding something? Are they just trying to find a way to reach out and get somebody in the living world to help them with something? You know what I mean? Is it a feared spirit?
Yep.
There's all these questions that constantly run through my mind that will never be answered.
It's true. Maybe they don't get answered.
And that I'm constantly looking for the answers for through the deceased or the spirits or these ghosts.
And that's why usually I say now with doing any kind of Durham Paranormal teamwork, if somebody wants help, we'll try to help.
Yeah.
The last case we did, they were having a ton of activity in the house. We did multiple investigations at the location and narrowed down what we can do is help with what we believed was the spirit of her past mother, pass on a message so that between the spirit and the person living, that the message was passed on and that both can accept that message has been passed on and that hopefully there's no turmoil there anymore in trying to get a message across.
I definitely remember that investigation. And it was dark.
There was times, in the house it was very dark. It was cool. We got a picture of an arm coming up a staircase.
I remember that picture.
Yeah, I know you do. It was an interesting investigation at times. There was a lot of different things going on. I do believe that we corrected or helped the situation we were sent to help.
Okay.
And I classified that as case closed. That we helped the situation that we were sent there to help.
Have you heard anything else?
That person constantly has activity.
Okay.
But they were also dabbling in a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing you can do is kind of provide insight or suggestions or guidance. In the end, it's up to that person if they're going to continue to dabble in things, and they may continue to attract things.
Yeah.
But I believe we helped what we were sent to help. Now, when it comes to, like, as you were saying about what interests you with the investigative side and the questions that you have, I very much used to have those questions as well, and understand that those questions may not get answered. And the flip side for me now is, beyond those questions, I now want to know, what is that energy? How is it here? Why is it here? Where does it come from? What's causing that energy? I I've gone more towards, what is it, as opposed to what do you want.
Okay.
Where you talk about, like, what is the message? You can ask the message all the time. What is giving me that message?
Okay.
What we have a question. What is your message? Say hi to Lisa. What the hell just told me to say hi to Lisa? What was that?
It was
Where
Debbie from down the street.
Debbie from down the street. How did her energy get into my space and present that message to me? That's the questions I have now. Is that something that is attracted here because I'm investigating? Does my intention to find things create an energy? I very much believe that attention of investigating is causing experiences during ghost hunting.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Definitely makes sense. In a way, it makes sense. You know, I guess you kind of have to have an understanding of the aspect. I mean, I'm sure somebody from the outside looking in, who has no idea what's going on, would kind of be sitting there scratching their head, going, "What the heck did he just say?"
Yeah, I'm trying not to be confusing.
I get it. No,
I'm trying to expand on the questions that you're
doing
asking.
a great job. I gotta say, as an experienced podcaster.
Yep. Very experienced podcaster. One day we'll see if Justin can break his record of holding his breath.
Oh God, here we go.
Why
you gotta bring that up?
Okay, throwback Ultimate Gravity Show. Anyways, yeah,
Are you afraid?
I might not ever get the answers to the new questions I have either, and I understand that.
Okay.
But I think my open-mindedness needed to evolve to have more questions, and I'm ready to have more questions later on.
Okay.
In an industry where the answer is more questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
That's what this unknown topic is. That's what ghosts are. That's what anything else is. Cryptids, UFOs. The answers to your questions are more questions.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And you have to enjoy researching those things.
Okay.
But we're diving on ghosts, so keep going.
I had a question I definitely need the answer to. Are you afraid of running into the wrong ghost? The wrong type of ghost? More known in the pop culture as a poltergeist.
I'm not afraid to run into a poltergeist.
Why? They can do
because it intrigues me. A poltergeist is a spirit activity that is moving objects in the home, and it absolutely intrigues me if things start moving and I can't see what's moving it. I want to know why. What is that you call ghost? I call energy.
Mm-hmm.
What is moving that? That's what attracts me. When I started out, any kind of spirit activity scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
You do become desensitized over time with experience of investigating. And the more you ask questions, the more it desensitizes you, because maybe it's not even desensitizing you, it's just piquing your curiosity more than your fear.
Yeah.
So if a poltergeist is in the house and it's moving the furniture and moving the cutlery, I want to see that. I want to record it. I want to capture it on video. I want to analyze it, and I want to ask the questions of what's causing it and expect that I'm not going to figure it out, but people might come to their own conclusions. Oh, it's a poltergeist. Oh, it's a ghost. Oh, and
do you think there's a difference between ghost and poltergeist? I mean, essentially they're the same thing.
Are they?
I mean, some would say that a poltergeist is more so like a demon.
Now you're infringing on a completely different topic. A demon? I don't think demons exist as much as people think they do.
Okay.
I think
that's interesting.
I think negative energies exist.
I think that's more so what I was leaning towards.
The term demon is a Christian term.
Okay.
I believe it's a Christian term and used towards ghost hunting and investigations, and people use that because it's embedded into our society to believe that if there's ghosts, there's heaven, there's hell, there's demons, there's God, there's angels, all of those things. And I'm not discounting anybody that believes in those things.
No,
I respect that 100%.
Yep.
But my belief is that if they are out there, they're not out there as much as people think they are. They're not as common. Just because a spirit moves a chair across the floor doesn't mean it's a demon. Maybe it's a spirit saying, hey, have a seat, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally get it.
It could be, I believe there's negative energy and positive energy. I also believe that energy is fed off of your intention, your personality, your demeanor. If two people are fighting in a home all the time, the energy becomes negative and the activity becomes negative.
Yeah, I agree.
If people become positive and and put an effort into having a happy home or positive energy home, your experiences will either just not exist or they'll be more positive. You'll start seeing them as a more positive experience.
Yeah. And that's just, and I think that goes towards keeping an open mind too, right?
Correct.
Because if you're keeping an open mind, you're going to have more of a positive outlook rather than if you're going into it with not so much a closed mind, but like a doubtful mind and carrying yourself very negatively. You're going to have those negative outcomes with that negative energy. And that's something that you don't want to carry around, in my firm beliefs. You know? I mean, man, the last thing that I would want to have is to bring somebody out to do an investigation, them have a negative mindset, and make the whole experience with negative energy. And then that stick with us. You know?
But why would that negative energy stick to you? If you go to a place where there's negativity and there's negative energy, you're worried about bringing that negative energy home?
Yeah, 100%.
Why would that negative energy stay with you if you're not negative?
Because I feel...
You might turn that negative energy into a positive energy when you bring it with you.
Yeah, but
We're surrounded by energy all the time, 24/7, in our lives, wherever we go. We are surrounded by energy. Energy that we do not understand. Energy that we cannot see. Energy that maybe cannot do anything physical. Maybe some energies can.
Yeah.
But it's always there. And I believe that it evolves and does things based off of how you're doing at that time. Or what you're doing.
Okay. But there's also the theory that what if that negative energy straps to me and I could carry myself as a positive person, but it could essentially bring out the negative and feed off of that.
If you let it.
Yeah. Okay.
So even in even in the Catholic or Christian belief, the biblical belief of a demon being there and you need exorcism or the house needs exorcism, it's not just a one and done thing that you see in movies or TV. It is a minister or a priest or an exorcist coming in, blessing, doing their exorcism. They come in multiple times, do those things, but they will also tell you, if you don't help yourself, the help I'm giving you is not going to matter. Because if, say, an exorcist comes into your house, does everything they need to do over time to exorcise you or the house, they will get rid of 95% of what they need to get rid of. But if that 5% of you not putting in an effort into removing that, that 5% is all that energy needs to stick around and turn back to the way it was.
Okay. Now you brought up exorcism. Wouldn't that fall under wouldn't somebody who's more religious run towards that option to be rid of the negative energy?
Yeah. So that's what we're saying.
Right?
Religion is, everybody has their own belief.
Yeah.
So, and everybody does things in their own way with their own belief. There's even ghost hunting teams that'll go out there and believe in just that, demons and all that different stuff. And then there's like, you have paganism, you have just occult research. There's all kinds of different studies. They all have their own belief systems. They all have their own ways. Pagans use, say, smudging with sage and different things to clear houses. Native belief, where they have their own rituals.
Yep.
It's all about sticking with your, I don't want to say lineage, but with your belief system. Sticking with your belief system to do the things that will most positively impact your outcome. Yeah. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense, dude.
Yeah.
I like that.
So if I think having an exorcist come into my home to get rid of the spirit that I told you or energy that's around my house, if I don't believe that him coming in is going to either help or hinder the situation, that's just me. But if you believe having him come to your house and getting rid of whatever's in your house will work, you'll have a better result than I will with that, because I don't believe in it, but you do. I believe in my other methods of intention, positivity versus negativity, creating positive energies. Intention's a big one for me.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So, and that's where I kind of follow. I study kind of everything I possibly can on every different type of faith or belief. Yeah, I want to understand all of it, and I want to get, again, the answers, being more questions through all of it. Absolutely. We could go on about ghosts all night long and record like a 100-hour podcast
100%
on ghosts. We will come back to ghosts.
Cool.
I guarantee it. In multiple times, we will talk about ghosts anytime there's questions, and challenge my beliefs 100%. I'm down. I'm open-minded. Yep. I am willing to listen to everybody's experiences and beliefs. I've had people tell me I'm wrong and why they think I'm wrong, and I don't fight them. I say thank you.
Yeah.
Because thank you for giving me your perspective.
100%.
Because maybe it might make me change mine, but maybe it won't. But either way, I appreciate that you gave me your perspective.
Yeah.
We want to hear your perspective, so you know where to follow us. Facebook, Instagram.
Twitter. I think we are Elements of the Unknown on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
And Twitter, we are Elements of the U1 on
U1,
Twitter.
Twitter limited our space count.
Yep.
Because, we had to have a big, huge, long name.
Yeah. Way to go.
Email us, elementsoftheunknown@gmail.com.
Yep.
Leave a comment on any of our socials. Message us. Let's get involved.
Yeah. Make sure you guys like, share, tell your friends about us. Get them involved.
tell me your ghost story, and I'll throw it on.
Yeah.
Find our socials. Go on Facebook. It has a link. Buy our merch. Help us out. Keep this thing going. Until the next episode, stay spooky.
Stay weird.